This week I saw Paul Schrader's thought-provoking and evocative drama First Reformed. Schrader, perhaps most famous for his iconic screenplay collaborations with Martin Scorsese and the likes of Taxi Driver, writes and directs the film with a deliberate and assured touch. Centering on a fantastically performance from Ethan Hawke, First Reformed follows a priest of a small congregation in upstate New York who finds himself grappling with wide-ranging environmental concerns when he's asked to counsel a troubled parishioner. Hawke plays Reverend Toller, a man of faith who seriously doubts his own wisdom and abilities, clearly emotionally damaged, whose insecurity is palpable in every close-up. An early conversation with the aforementioned parishioner Michael shows this vulnerability and lack of certainty exquisitely. The points raised by Michael about the future of our planet acting as a catalyst that begins an intense inner battle within Toller. Schrader mirrors these concerns beautifully. The widespread pollution of Earth is paralleled with Toller's toxic alcoholism, its impending death reflected in his deteriorating health. The film is fittingly cold, the wintry setting dispelling a dark and lifeless mood over proceedings. With unconventional aspect ratio, Schrader and DOP Alexander Dinan frame their shots in uncomfortable front-on close-ups, symmetrical wides, and strange high-angle viewpoints, the almost monochromatic colour palette creating a world without warmth, a world of stark contrasts. The effect is almost clinical, a polarised, almost unnatural order. This contrast is strongly felt in the juxtaposition between First Reformed Church, a humble 250-year-old wooden structure, and Abundant Life, a gaudy megachurch that can't even be contained within the narrow frame. Here Schrader comments on the nature of modernity where abundance is an euphemism for excess. Toller's church is a quaint tourist attraction for those who want to seek a glimpse of the past, where Abundant Life is a fine-tuned corporate headquarters, an all-consuming behemoth. Support from Amanda Seyfried and Cedric Kyles is strong, both of which thriving in the kind of serious dramatic roles we rarely see them in. Kyles plays Jeffers, the Reverend of Abundant Life, perfectly, both cynically businesslike as well as warm and charismatic. Seyfried's Mary, the troubled pregnant wife of Michael, is enigmatic and stoic, her relationship with Toller deeply effective in its humanity. Elsewhere, Victoria Hill plays Esther, the choir director from Abundant Life, as a strong counterbalance to Toller. Her obvious concern for the priest bringing out the emotion within that he so fervently wants to keep locked away. Schrader's imagery is fascinating, from fairly obvious yet evocatively surreal moments like when Toller and Mary levitate, flying over a juxtaposition of Earth's beauty and horror, to the Pepto-Bismol poured into a glass of bourbon, seemingly mutating, almost cancerous. The latter is ominous and perfectly representative of the film's themes, the sickness eating Toller up inside and the unnatural decay of nature. On top of the literal depictions of pollution, this man-made destruction of the natural is seen throughout. Choosing to focus on the violent effects of Michael's suicide as well as depictions of suicide bombing, the self-destructive force of man is literally shown. Elsewhere, squirrels starved to death after being snagged in barbed wire foreshadows the sickening wrapping of the sharpened metal around Toller's body. Perhaps the most divisive and, in my mind, memorable moments is the film's ending. Toller, discarding his initial plan of blowing himself up with a suicide vest, instead, after wrapping himself in barbed wire as aforementioned, pours a glass of drain cleaner to drink. Mary enters abruptly, causing him to drop the glass before approaching and kissing her as the camera whirls around them. It would be a huge reprieve to the narrative gloom of First Reformed if this indeed occurs as shown, but it also seems to be far too trite and convenient for such an otherwise beguiling film. It has a dreamlike or hallucinatory effect, surely a moment of imagined bliss for Toller, who previously questioned what goes through one's mind before killing themselves when writing in his diary. With the door to his house locked and with no way for Mary to enter, Toller undoubtedly swallowed the drain cleaner, an exaggerated progression of the poisonous alcohol the glass usually contains. Why kill himself at all? Did Toller simply become radicalized in the way that Reverend Jeffers warned him is all too common these days? Did he believe himself a martyr for the cause, finishing off what Michael started? Or was he simply overcome with the culmination of despair and guilt that had weighed on him so heavily all this time? Schrader's ending is far from clear-cut, but it's nonetheless thought-provoking and powerful in its execution. Strongly evoked themes pervade the film, some of which are the hypocrisy of society and the church, the blind following of traditions such as Toller's insistence on having his son serve in the military, and the cancerous effects of guilt. Ethan Hawke thoroughly deserves all the praise he's received for a fine performance, and Schrader proves his directorial flair is far from diminished after a number of lackluster projects. First Reformed demands patience, but it's well worth your time. Its imagery lodges itself in your mind and continues to evolve long after viewing. I'm going to give First Reformed 4.5 stars out of 5. Looking for a new movie site? Check out our creative partner MovieBabbleReviews.com, where you can find an array of reviews, articles, and other movie discussion to sink your teeth into. If you want to donate to fill my watchlist and help improve the quality and frequency of our uploads, check out the link to our Patreon in the description below. Finally, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to subscribe and check out our other content. Thanks very much for watching.